Hi guys, Coleman here from Liako. In this video we're going to highlight some everyday occurrences in Tokyo and Japan that definitely wouldn't be okay back in Canada. From smoking in restaurants and bars, but not in many outdoor spaces, and never ever lighting up a joint, to riding bikes without helmets on sidewalks and not really locking them up. Here are 5 everyday things in Tokyo that wouldn't fly in Canada. One of the first things we noticed was how popular cycling is in Tokyo. The city is super bicycle friendly, with wide sidewalks to accommodate foot and pedal traffic and laws and cultural norms that make it easy to get around by bike. Did you know it's okay to ride a bike on a sidewalk in Tokyo? It totally is. Most people take advantage of this and ride on the sidewalks rather than on the roads. You'll also notice that almost nobody wears a helmet, with the exception of some small children and people on those serious road bikes. This includes parents on mamacharis or mom bikes, with 1 or 2 children in the seats in front and or behind them. In our home province in British Columbia, Canada, not wearing a helmet while riding a bike on a public road is also illegal. The second thing that's commonplace in Japan that wouldn't work in Canada is the fact that almost nobody really locks up their bikes. Most bicycles come with a built-in clamp on the back tire that prevents it from rolling, and you can lock that with a key, but if you're so inclined, you could easily scoop up any number of them off the sidewalks here and either run away with them or toss them in the back of a truck. This almost never happens, probably partially because they'd be difficult to resell, but also because it's so taboo. This general courtesy and trust extends to shops and businesses in Japan, very few of which have security guards. Overall, Japanese people are highly courteous, respectful, and good at towing the line. This leads me to our next point, etiquette on subways and trains. For example, it's 100% not okay to eat or drink on public transit. Yes, that includes coffee. Using the subway and train system in Tokyo is the best way to get around, and because so many people use it, there are some pretty serious rules in place. Stations have pathways well marked, including what side you should walk on when passing in a particular direction, and drinking and eating on board is a big no-no, as is talking on your cell phone. Almost everyone uses their phones, tablets, or small laptops for gaming or texting or whatever, but in the month we were in Tokyo, we didn't overhear a single cell phone conversation, even though there's free and reliable Wi-Fi in most of the stations and on trains. If you tried to ban coffee on public transit in Canada, I imagine people would revolt. That cup of joe in the morning commute is a crucial part of many Canadians' day. Honestly, I've never been inconvenienced by it back home. Occasionally there'll be a bit of coffee spilled on the floor or on the train or whatever, but it's not that big a deal. Also, North Americans do eat on public transit, though less frequently than they drink things like coffee, tea, or canned beverages. And usually it's just snack items like chips or peanuts or maybe a Tim Hortons donut, rather than, say, a bowl of curry or spaghetti. So far it may seem like this is a list of ways that Japan is better than Canada, but it's not. In fact, one of the most shocking things, for us non-smokers anyway, was how smoking tobacco is still totally cool in many bars and restaurants. It was way back in 2003 that Canada did away with the smoking sections in public eateries and pubs. I remember going to dinner with my parents and requesting the non-smoking section, only to have smoke waft over the ineffective glass partitions and cause my mother to enter a state of mild hysteria. Here in Tokyo, and I believe the rest of Japan, there are many public destinations that still allow smoking, either outright throughout the building or in designated areas. Some are separated more effectively, like airports and popular cafes, which have rooms with good circulation and effective barriers, while others, like the hundreds of tiny bars on the I think rather overrated Golden Guy, aka Piss Alley, are like entering a hot box filled with tobacco smoke. Your eyes burn, your clothes smell, and yes, you breathe in lots of harmful secondhand smoke. Honestly, by the end of the trip, we were avoiding the izakaya and restaurants that allowed smoking throughout. Again, if you smoke, you might love this, and all the power to you. Light up, man. No judgment, it's just not for us. Outside, however, the rules are oddly flipped, with many streets and public areas posting no smoking signs and setting up small, fenced-off designated smoking areas. It's kind of funny to see dozens of people crowded together in a cloud of smoke on the corner of a busy street or intersection, and even funnier to see just a couple of guys in one of these sections in the middle of the night when there's nobody else around. So, you're definitely going to smell cigarette smoke when you're in Japan, at least for the time being. Apparently the country implemented a soft ban last year in 2018, but many businesses simply decided to opt out. But one smell that's basically become the national aroma of Canada that you almost certainly will not catch a whiff of in Japan is cannabis. Drugs, including weed, are highly illegal in Japan. If you get caught with any sort, you will almost certainly go to jail, sometimes for years, and wind up having to pay millions of yen, tens of thousands of dollars, in fines. In the ski and snowboard hotspot of Niseko in the north of the country, we saw signs in hostels, bars, and hotels advertising jail time of up to 5 years for cannabis, and that's just for possession. As strange as it may seem to Canadians, some Americans, and residents from other places where cannabis is now legal or decriminalized, weed is basically considered the worst of the bunch over here. It's all quote-unquote drugs. As a regular user in Canada and advocate for cannabis, I can't stress this enough. Leave your stash and your habit at home. The consumption of alcohol, on the other hand, is much more prevalent and less policed than in Canada. Canadian laws prohibit open alcohol in public and the sale of alcohol at certain hours of the day and public intoxication. Yes, Canadian cops will let it slide, particularly after the bars close late at night or in certain parks, what's up Trinity Bellwoods, but not always. I have friends who've been scooped up and jailed or handed fines simply for being drunk in public. We weren't sure what to expect here, but shortly after arriving in the popular nightlife neighborhood of Shinjuku, our first stop, it became clear that drinking wasn't that big a deal. We saw many locals and foreigners alike walking around the street with open cans of alcohol right by police officers who didn't bat an eye. The bars are filled with revelers and casual drinkers, and you can buy cans of beer, spirit drinks, and lots more in department stores, convenience shops, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and even some vending machines. What's more, we saw plenty of people staggering home in the mornings or sleeping it off in ramen shops or just right there on the sidewalk. We even saw the police helping out one such person. They just picked him up, dusted him off, jotted down something in their notebooks and sent him on his way. In Canada, if you displayed such behavior at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, you'd just as likely be given a free stay in the local drunk tank as assisted by the cops. We are certainly not saying that all Japanese people drink or drink to excess. It may be the opposite, in fact, that more Canadians enjoy a good stiff one. But just that the culture and the rules surrounding it seem to be a bit more casual here. We even saw a few, mostly young men, drinking beers or cans of soju on the subway, but they were kept mostly in plastic bags and consumed pretty low-key. So that's our list of everyday occurrences here in Japan that probably wouldn't fly back in Canada. Overall, we fell head over heels in love with Japan. It is so awesome, and you should definitely come here if you have the chance. On that note, if you have traveled to Japan or lived here or currently live here, we want to hear what you think. Let us know what other cultural differences surprised you in the comments below. And if you like this content, feel free to hit that subscribe button, or don't, that's cool too. We're working on more. Thanks for watching.